Hey everybody, Keith McGinnis here with KCDC Designs. Holy cats, this is a fantasy marble, primarily just using different shades of brown. I also use some grays and some charcoal. Check out how the border of that turned out. Let's get to it. Let me show you how I created it. So I've already poured out my colors, and all I used for the base colors is Alumilite White Dye, white metallic, and then also pearl gold. Now, when I poured those out, you can really see how the white was poured out. When I'm melting that with my hand, it's really not blending as well as I want it to. I tried, you can tell I'm going over it a couple times. I really don't want to press too hard, but I'm just not real satisfied with how that melded. So I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to prime that with some resin. And then I decided to go over and chop the whole entire surface. It doesn't look like it's melded much better, but it really did. And at the end, you can't see kind of how the white was poured out in kind of the linear fashion, so to speak. And all I'm doing here really is I'm just setting up some undertones just to give some visual interest by the time it's all said and done. Now what I'm going to do is now I'm going to start adding my colors, and I'm using RustOleum Spray paints. Now, with this particular technique, I'm not putting the spray paint on very heavy. I'm not dusting it on, but I'm also I'm sweeping across it fairly quickly because I don't want to put it on really heavy because I'm going to be using so many different colors. I really just want to layer those in because once I get all of my colors down, then I'm going to take a paint stick and I'm just going to run that paint stick back and forth. And what's important to note, I'm spraying colors over the entire surface. And I'm spraying colors over the entire surface, and I'm not putting it on very heavy because I do want that paint to dry just a little bit before I start running my stick through there. And the difference with that is if you spray paint an area and then immediately start running your stick through there, you're going to get more of a wood grain type look because your spray paint is still wet. If the spray paint has a chance to dry just a little bit, what it actually does is it creates kind of a crackle effect like what you see there. And that's really what I'm after. And you can kind of tell as I'm running the stick through there that it's breaking up the spray paints a little bit. And then over a period of 10 or 15 minutes as the epoxy is still moving, it starts to soften up a little bit and gives a really, really cool look and a really cool effect. So if you're looking for wood grain striations, you want to run your stick through there when the paint is wet. If you want more of a crackled type look, give that paint just a little bit of time to dry before you run your stick through there. If you've gotten the paint too dry, you can also take a heat gun or a torch and heat that area up and then go over it again. Now what I'm doing is I'm adding some accent veins using the same colors just in the center. And you can see those accent veins, what they're going to end up looking like. And then I'm going to take my heat gun, and for the edges, I just am softening those colors up. But then I'm also going to use that heat gun to move those veins in the middle, to move those around a little bit, to open them up and move them around a little bit more, as you'll see here in the flyover. I want you also to take notice, see those lateral lines that go from front to back? That I created with the torch. When you run your torch back and forth like that, only one time, it disturbs those metallics and creates those really cool vertical lines. So see how those spray paints, how I was talking about how they have kind of a crackle look to them? That's because I allowed that spray paint to dry just a little bit before I ran my stick back and forth through there. And for this particular project, it really, really gave it a cool look. I really liked the way that it turned out, opposed to having more of a wood grain look. So to me, it looked a lot more like a natural stone. All of the colors that I added in, it really doesn't look like there's 6 or 7 or maybe even 8 different spray paint colors that I used, but look how they all blend together so well. There's some copper accents I put in there too that the customer asked for. So there's the center veins. Those are the ones that I used my heat gun, and I kind of moved those around a little bit. And those I ran my stick through when the paint was wet because I did want more sharper lines in there, and I wanted the color to stay more intact. But those accent veins really, really turned out cool, like that right there. And that's all created with the heat gun, y'all. Just by moving that around and then just give it a chance to kind of develop. And those vertical lines that came from the torch, all of that. That's all very simple to do. Just take some time to practice with it, but it really turned out nice. So I know I went through this video fairly quickly on how I created this. Please leave me, if you have any comments, leave some comments below. I am going to provide a link that you can see right there that will take you to how I create the fantasy marble on a sample board where I go into a little bit more detail. So thanks again for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and we'll see you on the next video.